Okay, your band was founded like over 20 years ago. How have you experienced the change in the music industry since you first started?
Well, as a performer, I don't really notice it that much. You know, we're on a little label. We started out on a big label, but we wanted to be on a little one, and then now we're on a little one, and everything's fine. As a consumer, it is different. Some of what's different is great. You know, it's so easy to find what you're looking for, but then the mystery's gone a little bit. You know, it's a little too easy to know where a band is from and what they're like and read their diary, etc. So there's something that I find a little bit uncomfortable about some social networking and stuff. But yeah, people don't sell as many records, and it seems that like the live experience is kind of like the last kind of real thing, you know, the last non-downloadable experience. So that's good and bad. It's bad because you really have to tour more than ever, and I really like it, so that's fine. But some years you don't want to be away from home that much. But yeah, I don't know. I guess the music industry is very different. Records are expensive. Vinyl's coming back though, so that's great. And I think it really is coming back. It seems to be pretty strong. And I sort of feel now like if you don't put your record out on vinyl, it didn't really come out in a way, you know? I don't know, what do you think?
No, yeah, I think it's great. I love vinyl.
Yeah.
I collect, so. No.
But I mean the music industry changing.
Of course. Have you ever downloaded something illegally?
Oh, sure, yeah, totally. Lots of it illegally, but mostly iTunes, you know. I want them to do well because they sell our records.
So you don't feel like it's against the bands if you download something?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No, because it used to be we would just take things off the radio. You know, that's what I did at first. You know, my first cassette recorder was a reel-to-reel, a woolen sack that my dad gave me, and I have a little FM radio about this big, and I'd put it next to the microphone, and whenever Dancing Queen came on, I would tape that, because that was my favorite song, and I would try and tape it every time, so I had a tape that was full of the end of Dancing Queen, you know, or all of it, or, you know, half of it, or whatever.
Wow. It's amazing. So before you said you were first a small and then at a big label,
Mm-hmm.
I think when your first album came out you had some problems and it resulted in one of your second albums only coming out in Europe. How come there were some problems with you and the labels?
Well, because our first record had Popular on it, which was, you know, kind of a moderate hit, and it seemed to be towards the tail end of the commercial alternative boom, which is when big record companies could take quirky bands and sell a ton of records. And this was towards the end of that, and they thought that on our second record there wasn't really a hit like that. And it's true, there wasn't. I mean, there are songs that I think of as hits, but I think of so many songs as hits by so many bands. But on our second one, they didn't think there was an easy home run like that. So they wanted us to try and write one, and then they wanted us to do a cover of something that they thought would be a hit. And in the end, they just didn't want to put the record out. So even though it was out in Europe, they then pulled it off the shelves, and we got dropped. And in a way, it's a good thing. It's good because then we had, for 3 years, we were just waiting to get that record back, and that's when we sort of changed as a band, because we had all this free time and we got to sort of start over. And that's when we made Let Go, which ended up doing really well for us. It didn't sell as much, but it kind of put us where we wanted to be and on the right kind of label, and since then things have been really easy.
So now you're perfectly happy with your label and it's a small one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you think the reason is for you guys? It seems every album you bring out, it's more successful in Europe or in certain countries in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think it's harder for indie musicians to find their place in, let's say, America, and it's easier in Europe?
Well, actually, it's not the case anymore. That was true for us maybe 6 or 7 years ago, but now we're as big in the States as we are here. It's really good. Yeah, I think it's because of the sync noise or something.
Sorry.
It's much better, yeah. It's pretty loud in here. I mean,
Yeah.
headphones. It's
Sorry
annoying.
about that.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Just go on.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I don't know. But that is a common paradigm, and it may be because there's so many because there's so many countries in Europe, smaller countries allow for stranger taste to come to the surface, whereas in a bigger country, it has to be evened out even more just by numbers, and you end up getting, more Mickey Mouse and less quirky, less Fritz the Cat, but it's been great for us because there were times when not that much was happening in the States and we could come here and do good tours and play for like really interesting crowds and stuff.
Now, your new album, which is coming out, it has a lot of cover songs. How I don't think you ran out of ideas, but what's the reason behind bringing out cover songs? Is it your tactic? But because normally you start off with doing cover songs, and now it's just doing it now.
Right. Well, it's not that we run out of ideas, but if we were making our own record of new songs, it wouldn't be out now. We'd still be working on it, So it was quicker. We really did it because it's a ridiculous reason. We did it because we have a friend, Louis Lino, who plays keyboards for us sometimes and has helped us make the last few records. And we were touring for Let Go, and he'd come on a couple of tours. We had one big tour left in Europe, and I said, Louis, can you do it? And he said, well, I'm starting this recording studio, and I should really hang around here, and I know it's going to be okay, but I may have to sell a guitar or something. And oh, well, could we pay you a little more? And he said, that wouldn't really help. And I said, what would help? And he said, if you made a record here. And it was too big a commitment to say, okay, we'll make our next full album there, because we don't even know who's going to produce it. So we don't know what city we should be doing it in. So I said, what about a covers record? And he said, sure. And that was it. And so I asked the other guys, I proposed to Louis that we do a covers record so that he'll come on tour, and they're like, sure. And it was also a way for us to get busy when we came home from tour without my having to hole up for a year and write a bunch of songs. So it was, it's kind of cheating, but it was fun.
One of your songs.
I think if radio was awesome, it'd be kind of cheesy to do commercials, but radio's not awesome. So I think it's fine. It's kind of like the new radio. In the 80s, there was a band from Boston called the Del Fuegos, or the Del Lords. I'm not sure which one it was. One of the two, one of the Dells. Did a Miller commercial in print, just in magazines, and it killed their career because it was so quote-unquote uncool to do. But then, for me, the big change came when the Shins did a McDonald's commercial right when their first record came out. And when their first record came out, for a few months, there was that feeling of wow, that's the best band in the world. And they were. That's such an exciting time when someone puts out their debut record, it blows people's minds, it's so beautiful. And right then they do a McDonald's commercial. Well, that really felt it's not going to kill their career because we're in love with them right now. They're a new thing. And they didn't need to do this, and they did. And it felt like, okay, well, now you can do anything. Doesn't matter. It's a new radio station. I think it's fine. Hey.
Stop it. I'm so sorry.
No, that's the wrong.
You can take your time to think about them, and if you know the answer, if we just say it direct into the camera.
Mm-hmm.
So my first question is, your first memories towards your first live performance, or the first live performance you actually watched?
The first live performance I watched was Simon and Garfunkel reunion show in Central Park in 1980. So I was really lucky to be there. I went to a 1975 Joan Baez, Phil Oakes, The Vietnam War is Over concert in Central Park also, that our babysitter kidnapped us to. But I don't remember the show. I just remember at the end they said, please help us pick up cans and bottles, and my sister and I were really excited, so we ran around picking up cans and bottles. My first live experience myself on stage was on a cruise ship talent show. Me and my best friend, I was playing bass, he was playing drums. We played the Guns of Brixton and Jimmy Jazz by The Clash, and I got really loaded for the show because I was nervous. And there was a little stairway leading up to the stage with a spotlight on it, and I climbed up the stairs and tripped and fell flat on my face. So that was my first live experience.
Oh my god. The first album, vinyl, CD, tape you ever bought, just the first material music?
The first record I bought was a 3-record set by the Jackson 5 called like Live in Indiana or something, Live from Indiana, and it wasn't actually a live record. It was like a compilation of singles and B-sides and stuff, and it had a white cover with multicolored lightning bolts on it, and they were wearing nudie suits, which are those suits, these white suits with big patches on them of like clouds and sheep and fences and things. Yeah, that was my first record. And then the next couple of records I bought were Bob Seger's Greatest Hits, Simon & Garfunkel's Greatest Hits, and the Beatles' Let It Be.
If you could classify your music, what would it be?
I don't know. I mean, technically it's indie rock now, but that term is just the new version of alternative, which was the new version of college rock, which was the new version of maybe post-punk, which was the new version of punk. So I don't know. I think it's just I think we just play rock music that doesn't have a lot of solos and not a lot of blues chord movement. So loud folk, maybe, something like that.
Have you ever come across one band, and if you could change your band name now, have you ever come across one band and where you think, oh my god, if I would have thought about that, I would...
Oh, was a band name?
Yeah.
Oh my god, so many, because our name is so kind of goofy. There's a band called Psychedelic Horseshit, I think is very funny. There's a band called Aykroyd. And isn't there a band in Germany now called the Pops? That's pretty funny. My favorite album title is Ladies and Gentlemen, We Were Floating in Space, Spiritualized. That's really good. But you know, it's funny, like band names, they just become whatever the band is. Like The Who sounds like a stupid name, but they're such a great band, so it's a great name. But yeah, maybe in the end I'll stick with our own name.
Last question.
Mm-hmm.
If you could choose to have any support band to support you on tour, doesn't matter which genre, doesn't matter which artist, alive or dead, who would it be to support you?
Oh, well, I mean, the great thing about a support band is you get to watch them every night, so it's like getting 30 free shows. So I guess it would be the Kinks, maybe. Soft Boys. Led Zeppelin. See, the shows wouldn't be any fun because we couldn't go on after them, but I'd get to watch them. I'd see a lot of great shows and then I'd quit. Television, maybe. Big Star.
Great. Okay.
Yeah.
Last thing we just need from you is a station ID.
Mm-hmm.
It would be, hi, I'm
Mm-hmm.
from Nada Surf, and you're watching Uniscreen.
Uniscreen.
Yeah, university screen. It's screens
Alright.
they hang up in the whole studio.
All right. Hey, I'm Matthew from Nada Surf, and you're watching Uniscreen on a screen somewhere in front of you.
Want to do it again without the last part?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Matthew from Nada Surf, and you're watching Uniscreen.
It was great.
Yeah.
Really awesome. Great answers. Really
Okay, good.
interesting.
Thank you.
How long is it going to be in Europe for? Are you not like that bubbles?
I don't. Steal
But the six ones-
I know, I just took the wrong one. So now I just have to get rid of it a little bit. We're gonna be here another 3 weeks, I think.
Okay, wow.
We're taking like another week of shows, and then we're gonna take 2 weeks in Ibiza
Oh, nice.
on a sort
Partying
of
or
songwriter
or like-
vacation. We'll see. I have my doubts. But we're not gonna be on the side of the island. We'll be on the
Okay.
normal, peaceful side. Yeah.
That sounds.
Yeah, and then we'll be back in July for a month of festivals.
In Austria.
Maybe.